Now, I wanna, I wanna, I wanna kind of morph everything that you just said,
Right.
and I want to say, as in musically, is there responsibility musically? Now, the argument is, in mainstream, there's a responsibility.
Right.
In the church, we say that's a responsibility, man, to share the gospel. Because I hear arguments that
Right.
even people in the church, they don't want to talk about real things.
Right.
But if you take theology and you put it into a record, and you've done great at that, because we did All Hell and we did some stuff,
Right.
some dope records,
Right.
But when people don't know what the Word of God means, they
Right.
don't, they don't understand what it means.
Right.
Do you think talking about real life issues on record, truthfully, is a solution? And what about the people that say it's not a solution? What's
Right.
your perspective on that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I definitely think that there is a responsibility that every artist has, regardless of what you believe. Number one, I think that there is a certain level of, as an artist, there is a certain level of freedom of expression, creativity, and things like that, right? So every artist is going to, their worldview is going to come out, right? So when you have an artist that says, you know, I rap about killing black men for a living, but in person, I really don't believe in that stuff, right? Well,
Right.
he's showing you he's showing you his character, right? His character. So even though he may not be about that life where he's trying to kill somebody in real life, that's still what's in him. That's what's birthed in him, and that's what he feels like is okay to get money. Just like you have the dope dealer that feels like, hey, I can poison my community because at the end of the day, man, I'm trying to feed my family, right? It's basically the same thing. And so everybody has a certain level of responsibility, especially depending on their worldview. So if their worldview is that of, well, shoot, it's just entertainment, I'm just having fun. They always say that, but then when somebody, Pookie or Ray Ray get killed, then we want to talk about stop the violence. So where was that?
Right.
Where was that before? So if your music is just music, don't be talking about that now. Like just make music, right? So I believe that everybody has a responsibility. I think that when it comes down to religious undertones or overtones and things like that, I think the main thing really what it comes down into music, and this is why I kind of made my shift, was at the end of the day, whether you're being explicit or direct, what does your art reflect and represent? Is your art something that we can look at and say, this uplifted society, this uplifted, especially if you're Black, did this further our community, or did it pull us back? Because really there is no neutrality. I don't care what you believe, whether you believe in God or not, there is no neutrality. So either you're pushing for something or you're pushing for something else. You know what I'm saying? So you're either putting us in a positive direction or you're putting us in a negative direction. You know what I'm saying? Is your music, for example, what Black women always bring up, does your music make, and obviously, yes, we're all grown men and women. We know children and teenagers watch too, but even for us grown folks, we all have decisions to make. And me listening to a Tupac record is not an excuse for me to go out and you know what I'm saying, and knock somebody over the head. But at the same time, these are levels of influences, and a lot of us been listening to this music since we were children, right? But with that being said, is that music, is it something that's pushing me forward to do greater things in life, or is it pushing me to do less? And so I always use this example, Boys in the Hood, right? If you want to talk about a movie that is full of violence, full of profanity, full of a lot of things that you could say are wrong in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And with all that being said, there's nothing in the movie that glorifies violence. It's not a movie. It's a very positive movie, but it's a very negative. It shows a very negative light on things that are negative. You know what I'm saying? You don't leave the movie like, man, I want to get shot like old boy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but
man,
I know a lot of people in the church, man, have seen that movie, and they say they never seen that movie. Mm-hmm.